before each. Oh, there he is. And
hey guys,
to, our good friend and colleague. He needs no introduction. Justin Trudeau. How are you?
very well. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
Doing great down here in Central Nova.
Excellent. Well, listen, I'm so happy to connect in with Atlantic Canada. This is a big day right across the country, but it wouldn't be right if I didn't check in with some of my dear friends and hardworking colleagues and teams out there. So, Sean, it's good to see you. Thanks for hosting. And Alexis, really excited about all the hard work you're doing down in West Nova. It's a lot of tough work for a whole bunch of great volunteers, but you've built an absolutely awesome team, and we seem to have seen Goody slip away, but I'm sure she'll be right back because I know the team is doing great work in Long Range Mountains as well. I'd love to talk about how your volunteers are doing. I know you've got amazing teams out there on the ground. Sean, what are you seeing? What do you got in terms of teams, in terms of preparing for get out the vote with everything you did on advance voting?
Look, I can't tell you how well things are going in terms of our volunteer team. My smile lit up when I arrived at the campaign office today. We got a full parking lot, but there's not a person in the office because they're all out knocking doors, polling vote, and making phone calls. It's just terrific to see that kind of attitude. But I got to say, the best conversations I'm having during this campaign are with our volunteers who are willing to knock doors until they lose daylight because they really care about what it is we're working toward here. They want to achieve progress for Canada, and to be a part of the campaign makes me feel really special when I'm motivated by their energy.
It's just inspiring to see so many people stepping up to get involved, to help move our country forward. Alexis, you came from a lot of sort of student activism and young people sort of shifting to change the world. What are you finding in terms of the volunteers you're getting out in West Nova and how hard your team is going?
Yeah, it's been a really exciting time, and we've had people from all ages step up and volunteer for our team because they really believe in what we're putting forward as a plan to keep everyone moving forward. So, I really have to say, we had an 8-year-old come forward to volunteer for our team, and Layla is her name. And she really enjoys politics, and that's what I love to see. I love when youth get involved, and I think age is a really great age to start at. But for her to see a young woman running was a really special moment for her. And so, our volunteers have been from one end of the riding to the other. Geographically, it's a really large place. But West Nova is beautiful, and we're full of good people trying to do really good things. And I'm so thankful for all of the people that have stepped forward to help out.
Well, listen, I am so excited about the team that you've built there, and I've seen the numbers coming in. It's just amazing, the momentum that you're building on the ground there. I'm very, very excited about it. Goody, I know you have, objectively speaking, everyone thinks the riding is the best, but you have one of the most spectacularly gorgeous ridings in the country over in Long Range Mountains. Tell me how people are getting around and how the team of volunteers is coming together and how you're preparing for the big day tomorrow of getting out the vote.
Well, boss, I'm saying hi from Grossmore National Park today, and I'm blessed. I've got 18 little teams all around my riding, and they're all pumped to get our Liberal supporters out tomorrow. We all know how important climate change is, and here in Grossmore, I don't need to tell you the impact that's going to have, right?
No question about it. I remember spending a few weeks many years ago, over a couple of times, visiting Grossmore with my family, and it is one of the most incredible parts of the world. And it reminds us as well as it does all of us as we look across this country how much work we have to do to continue to step up and fight climate change and create good jobs. That's absolutely essential. I mean, one of the things that I'm totally excited about is the kinds of conversations we've had across the country. For anyone just joining on this Instagram Live, I'm talking with 3 of our amazing Atlantic MPs, Sean Fraser, Alexis Chamberlain, and Goody Hutchins across Atlantic Canada, talking about how this campaign is going and how people are really responding to our positive, ambitious vision of the country. What is really impacting in your riding, Sean? What are you seeing there as being some of the big topics of conversation?
You know, one of the things, look, there's a half dozen issues that keep coming up on the doorstep, but one of the things that seems front of mind for a lot of people, particularly in light of what we've seen in Alberta in the last number of days and a recent outbreak we had with some more cases in Nova Scotia, is the fact that we're not out of this pandemic. I've got a 5-year-old daughter who started primary just a couple of weeks ago, and she's in a classroom that is surrounded by her classmates who can't be vaccinated because they're not eligible. And I just hear time and time again that there's an appetite to pull every policy lever we have at both the federal and provincial level, frankly, to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to get people vaccinated, to bring this pandemic to an end. We cannot do enough. We know the end of this pandemic will be done through vaccination. And I hear loud and clear that people want us to do whatever it takes to protect our neighbors and to bring COVID-19 to a close.
Listen, Sean, there's no question about that. What quite frankly, almost 80% of Canadians have done is stepped up and gotten vaccinated and to protect themselves, to protect their communities, protect kids. We've gotten enough vaccines for everyone who's eligible in the country. We're going to continue to encourage people to get vaccinated. And we're going to make sure that those people who have done the right thing are able to get back to the things they love as quickly and as safely as possible. And that's where we're working with any province who wants it on vaccine passports, which we're going to be paying for. We're making sure that anyone on a plane or train gets vaccinated. And the contrast is clear in this election because Mr. O'Toole is just not showing the leadership on vaccinations, not even in his own caucus, that Canadians deserve. So we're going to keep standing up for the freedom of those people who are vaccinated to get back to normal and avoid further lockdowns. That's something we're all hearing across the country. Goody, what are you hearing at the doors as well?
Justin, the best thing that we are doing for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians is our deal with Muskrat Falls to make sure when it comes online that power rates are not going to double for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. That affects seniors and youth, and the price of power at the fish plant, at the local store, at the schools, at the not-for-profits. That is the most important thing at the doors, how we are promising to help Newfoundlanders and Labradorians, working with Premier Ferry and the Liberal government here at home in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Listen, the way we've been supporting businesses, the way we're moving forward on tourism, the way we're getting things back to normal is really, really important. And your voice as a strong leader for rural Canada, not just in your riding, but across our caucus and across the country, is always incredibly important, Goody. So thank you for everything you're continuing to do. Thanks for highlighting what you've been hearing. Alexis, what are you hearing at the doors?
You know, the riding, like I said, is so large that depending where you are in each community, it's really a different issue. But there's one central theme that no matter what doorstep I'm on, usually people bring it forward, and that is healthcare. And it is really important. That affects all of us. And so for West Nova, looking at doctor recruitment and retention specifically, and as well as mental health, those are really the things that have been brought forward. And I'm proud to stand with a team that has a real plan to make advances on those things and has a rural focus as well.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those contrast points. You can't come through a pandemic like that and not realize that we need to invest in healthcare across the country right now. And yet, even as the Conservatives say, "Hey, we're investing $60 billion in healthcare," there's only like $5 billion or 3% or something like that between now and the next 5 years. It's all backloaded. What we need to do is invest now in healthcare, and that's why we're putting forward $25 billion over the next 5 years to invest in hiring more family doctors and nurses so people get that primary care they need, making sure we're fixing the backlog, because over the years, a backlog has accumulated in surgeries and treatments that's gotten worse because of the pandemic. So we're transferring more in the first year, $6 billion, than Aaron O'Toole is promising for all his healthcare investments over the first 5 years. So it's massive. but we're also, as you pointed out, investing in mental health care, because we know that the pandemic has exacerbated again many issues. So we're putting forward more money so people can get healthcare supports faster, but also specifically for young people to hire healthcare counselors in colleges, universities, right across the country. Because when you get young people mental health supports rapidly and responsibly, they get a better outcomes and better path for the rest of their lives. That's one of the things we need to step up on.
Look, there's no question, and if I can add my voice, I'm hearing the exact same thing, Alexis. I'm telling you, you don't have to knock many doors in rural Nova Scotia to understand that healthcare is the top priority. One of the things that I find, just to your point about Prime Minister, is the fact that people do not want to wait 5 years for a family doctor. They don't want to wait 5 years for mental health services. They don't want to wait 5 years for long-term care facilities for their aging parents. They need help now. Our provincial governments need help now. But one of the things I'm incredibly proud of to see that's actually made its way into the platform is the expansion of the student loan forgiveness program that's going to specifically forgive student loans for health professionals that choose to work in small communities like the ones that I represent. This is something that shows we've absolutely been paying attention to the priorities of people here. And I've got to give you full credit. When you made the announcement on this policy in Nova Scotia, you even pronounced Sheet Harbour and Musquodoboit the right way, which a lot of people don't get right. It's going to make a big difference for hospitals in my community that currently cannot open because they don't have enough doctors and nurses. This is a big deal for Nova Scotia. And when I see the contrast to delayed funding under the Conservatives' plan, it's no contest at all.
And
Yeah.
Justin,
Well, listen,
healthcare.
Go ahead, Goody.
Healthcare is everywhere, as you know, and our commitment to help rural doctors get into rural places is incredible. And of course, our commitment to broadband, right? We spent more to connect Canadians, and we're going to connect more Canadians across this country. That's going to help in healthcare too.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, there's so much to do, and the choice is so clear right now. Do we continue to move forward? Do we learn from the lessons of the pandemic that had people pulling together, being there for each other, supporting our frontline workers, and doing even more? And that's where we want to move forward. Or do we let the Conservatives take us back? And that, of course, spills over into reflections that progressives are having as well. I mean, I know progressives always reflect on the fact that, okay, if you want to stop the Conservatives, you have to elect a Liberal government. But progressives also want to be voting for the best plan for families, the best plan for workers, the most ambitious plan on fighting climate change. And this time, the experts are almost unanimous across the country. The Liberal Party has the strongest plan to fight climate change, the strongest plan on housing, the $10 a day childcare plan that's going to get women back into the workforce and save families thousands and thousands of dollars. These are the kinds of things, along with keeping guns, assault weapons illegal, keeping moving forward on defending women's rights to choose. These are the things that matter to progressives. And in this election, we actually have the strongest, most progressive plans. So people who are thinking of voting for a different progressive party need to know that they can get a progressive government by stepping up and voting for the Liberal Party to end this pandemic and to move forward the right way. And that's what we're hearing right across the country.
Oh, there's no question. Look, this election is important. I think, as everybody's pointed out, there are big things at stake. If I can leave folks who tuned in as we get closer to the end of our time together here today, if you want a strengthened public health care system, if you want more action on vaccines, if you want more action on climate change, if you want more action to make life more affordable for students, for seniors, for families, you can do something about it. The most important thing you can do in the next 36 hours or so of your life to achieve progress on the issues that matter most to you is to vote for the Liberal Party of Canada in the election tomorrow. I want to say thanks so much to my colleagues, Alexis, Goody, Prime Minister, for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have you today. Any concluding thoughts before we take off?
Absolutely. I'll let Goody and Alexis give their concluding thoughts, and then I'll wrap it.
Folks, be sure to get out and vote and support this incredible leader and this incredible party from coast to coast to coast.
Yeah, grab your friends, call your family, check in on your neighbors, make sure everyone gets out and goes to the polls. And, if you need to know where that is, call your local candidate and they will help you find it.
absolutely make sure you make your voice heard. This is a time where we've seen the different parties have very different ideas about how we get to move Canada forward. People need to step up and be heard. The same way we were there for each other as Canadians throughout this pandemic is the way we're going to get through it, by continuing to be ambitious, to lead during the crisis, to pull together and move forward for everyone. That's what I'm excited about. So make sure you're already thinking today about what time and where you're going to vote tomorrow. Make that plan so you can make sure that you're weighing in on the future of our country. Merci tout le monde. Quel plaisir de vous voir. Thank you, Sean, for hosting. We'll see you guys on the flip side of this. Goody and Alexis.
Take care, everybody.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.